Welcome back to another episode of the Following Films podcast. I'm your host, Chris Maynard. Today on the show, we're diving into a genre that feels like it's been missing from the multiplex for far too long. The warm-hearted 80s-style coming-of-age comedy. My guest is the legendary Bobby Farrelly, who's here to talk about his latest film, Driver's Ed. In the film, a group of teens hit the road in a stolen driver's ed car, racing against time to help a lovesick high school senior, played by Sam Nivola, track down his college freshman girlfriend and win her back. In 24 chaotic hours, they're chased by school security and the cops, shot at by small-time crooks, and somehow adopt a three-legged cat. Also starring Kumail Nanjiani and Shannon. Driver's Ed hits VOD this Friday, and honestly, it's a breath of fresh air. It has that genuine heart and nostalgic energy that reminds you of why we fell in love with these kinds of stories in the first place. Bobby and I get into the nuts and bolts of the new film, but we also take a deeper look at his career, specifically how he approaches the representation of characters with special needs. From the groundbreaking moments in There's Something About Mary to the intentionality behind Driver's Ed. We discuss why having characters the audience truly cares about is the secret sauce to making his comedies work. We also touch on how laughter could be the fountain of youth. It's a great conversation with a filmmaker who knows exactly how to balance a punchline with a bit of soul. Let's get into my interview with Bobby Farrelly. Hope you enjoy the show. Thanks.
DVDs behind you, or CDs, or both?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm still a physical media collector. I don't want to lose the things if they go away from streaming. So
how about vinyl? Do you have a lot of that?
If I could turn that right over there. Yep, they got it right there. So yeah.
Okay.
Not as many of the records, but I do like having the records around as well. How about you? Are you a physical media guy?
I was, but no, I didn't. I don't have the collection like you do. The world passed me by. So yeah, I had tons and tons of videos and DVDs and all that stuff, but I just kind of put them in boxes in the garage.
There's a lot of my memories are tied to movies. And so every time I look through there's probably hundreds of things that I have that I'll never watch again. But every one of those things has a memory tied to it. So when I look through and decide what I'm going to watch, I have these these specific memories that pop out. And so, and you're tied to a bunch of those memories also. So thank you for doing this. And thank you for some really great memories, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And I've been doing this for a while. And when there's certain filmmakers that I have on that list of, okay, if I ever get to talk to them, there's one thing I need to say. And I have a lot of questions about Driver's Ed specifically, but there's a very hyper-specific thing I want to drill down on for a moment. And it's not the focus of the movie. It's something that's important to me. The way that you acknowledge, the way that you show people with special needs in your films, I greatly appreciate. And especially in a film like Driver's Ed, where it's something that's just a part of the fabric, a part of the culture, a part of this film. It's not something that's called out in any specific way. It's just there. It just is. And that's how I love to see representation as, a dad of a kid with special needs. So it's something that when I see that, it makes me so happy when it's not about like, this is breaking a family apart or anything. It's just, the punchline isn't based on him. He's giving the punchline and crushing. So I love that. So thank you for that.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks. I remember when we were making There's Something About Mary.
Of course.
And the brother, Mary's brother, had special needs. And he was based on a friend of ours growing up. The kid had special needs, and he grew up down the street, and we were all good friends, and we just knew each other. And his name was Warren, as Warren in the movie too. And I remember the studio came and told us, like, no, you got to take Warren out of this. And we're like, why? And they said, well, it looks like you're making fun of him. And our feeling was, we're not making fun of him. He's just part of the fun. He's in the part of the story. We're not in any way making fun of him. And it would be way more insulting for us to take him out and act like he doesn't exist, because he does exist in our world. Yeah. And so why can't he exist in our story? And so that was it. We held our ground, and so glad we did, because it would have been easy to say, oh, okay, we'll take him out and all that. But, it just, he's part of our childhood and part of the storytelling that we told. And we never felt in any way that we're making fun of him. We're having fun. He's part of it. And so that's our understanding, is that we just want to include him. Really, it's just inclusiveness.
It's in a film like that, or in any of your films, they're never the butt of the joke. And I think that's true of a lot of your characters, even as absurd as they are, and as dark and as without sometimes the Driver's Ed is not one of those. I think you have actually a very warm film here, but I never
Yeah.
feel you laughing at your characters. I feel like you're just showing them, and in fact, even the despicable characters in your films, when you have them, there is warmth for them. Kumail in this movie is he's an irredeemable character in a lot of ways, but you have warmth for him and you find like an actual good arc for him in this film, which I really love.
Kumail has his own story here. He's the driver's ed teacher, and yeah, he's searching for himself too, even though he's one of the adults. He doesn't know what he's doing in life, and he kind of comes clean with Molly Shannon's character, the principal, later on, and explains, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm good at. And she helps him out. And so it just kind of points out that, everyone, whether you're the good guy, the bad guy, in between, whatever, you have a story and there's a humanity to you.
Well, isn't that the truth of being an adult, though? Is that we all, at some time or another, feel like we're faking it, that we don't belong here, that eventually we'll grow up. I'm in my last year of my 40s. I have just a few months until I turn 50, and I still don't feel like I've grown into adulthood fully yet. That thing that I thought it was going to be, it's just not.
Yeah, well, get used to it because it doesn't really go away. I'm older than you, and it's still. Fortunately, I never really think about my age, and I think it keeps me young, it keeps me immature. But so I don't want to have to be that guy who whatever. Now I'm an adult, so what? I don't laugh as much. I don't kid around. I like to be playful and childish.
That was the thing that when me and my wife were engaged, and we had this thing where we had a couple cocktails and we were walking around the streets of Portland, and she kind of stopped and she was getting very emotional and on the verge of crying before we were crossing the street. And she said, right now you love me when I'm 23, but what are you going to think about me when I'm 53, when some of this stuff fades and it goes away and I don't look like this anymore? I'm making a bet that you're still going to make me laugh the way you do today, 30 years from now. And that's what I'm gambling on, because that's what matters. Even then, I knew that's what matters. That's what I cared about, that I still want to be laughing until this is over, because the rest of the shit, it all fades and falls apart. So yes, laughing is so important. So thank you for giving
wise words. And that we don't have enough laughter in our world right now. And that's why that's what I responded to this movie, Driver's Ed. I didn't write the script, but when someone sent it to me and when I read it, I thought, oh man, this is exactly that kind of old school high school comedy that I loved growing up. The John Hughes, the Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, Ridgemont High, like those kind of movies where high school was scary and, a trip and all that, but fun and funny too, particularly in retrospect. And so this story had like just this high school comedy, fun adventure-ness to it that I really responded to, and I hadn't seen it in a long time. And so it was really fun to make, particularly working with these young actors who are in it. The four leads are so good. Sam Nivola, he's from White Lotus, but the other kids too, they're young, talented actors. I think they're all going to be around for a long time, but it was a joy for me as a director to work with them.
Well, that was one of the first things I wanted to ask you about after I had my obligatory thing I needed to say to you, was that you have this cast surrounding them, which is important. But oftentimes in films like this, you'll have a supporting cast that is so much more established and well-known that it feels like, can we get back to them? And it's almost the opposite here, where you fall in love with these kids so much that while you enjoy all the subplots and these other stories, these tangents that go on, and it all is a part of the story and it's fun, but really you're just invested in these four kids and what's going to happen to them. And you have an idea of where it's going to go, but you don't know exactly how you're going to get there. And that's that's the charm and magic of this movie, is that you care about where they're going.
Okay, well, thanks, because that's what I was hoping for, is that you actually did believe them. You believed that they were high school kids, and you could believe their stories, and you could identify maybe with, I know that type of kid from high school, but these are four different people, and they don't hang out with each other in high school. They're all just taking this driver's ed course together, and one of the guys makes a terrible decision to steal the car because his girlfriend, who's off in college, is about to break up with him, and he panics, and I got to go fix this thing. So he takes off in the driver's ed car, and the other three reluctantly go along with them, and it turns into a big adventure overnight thing with lots of fun and funny but heartfelt stuff too. So it all kind of happens in 24 hours, and it changes their life completely, everything that happens.
Well, that's one of the things when I was looking at your films that I think is consistent throughout them, that as outlandish and odd as they might get with the plot, they always feel emotionally honest to the characters. And emotional believability is so much more important than the actual plot mechanic believability. People do stupid things all the time that are unpredictable.
Yeah.
So you can kind of throw people anywhere as long as you believe that this person believes what they're doing. That's all that you care about in a movie.
It's been our thing. We always wanted to make sure that you like the character enough. In our first movie, Dumb and Dumber, it's Harry and Lloyd, and they're very dumb. They're grown men who act like 9-year-olds. But you have to like them. Like, you have to feel for them and get behind them, and that way they can get away with all the crazy stuff they do, because you it comes from a good place. If you don't understand them, I don't think it works as well. And so occasionally we have to take the time to show a human side to them, and so that's where the heart comes in on most of our movies. We always like to have a blend of some of it's heartfelt and some of it's comedy, and together they work. Each one works better because of the other part.
Could not agree with you more. And you were talking about the John Hughes films. And to me, this is almost something akin to my favorite John Hughes film, which is Some Kind of Wonderful, where it is that sort of, which I love that one because it has a big heart on its sleeve that it just wears openly. And I feel like that's what you're doing here as well, that the ending of this film, which I don't want to give away to people, but the way that it pulls it off, even with all the absurdity that's surrounding it, you earned it and it feels honest and you're very happy when it happens, and it's a very mature ending, and it's the one that you would want to see. So I really appreciated that about the film.
Oh, good. Well, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that, because that definitely what I was shooting for. It's always a challenge to, have people walk out of the theater. Or in this case, this movie will be a streamer, so you'll find it on, on demand and all that. But you want to leave them at the end feeling good about what just happened. Don't want to just make them laugh and then it just ends. It has to wrap itself up and have a satisfying ending, and I think this one does.
And it does, because I think that's what lends a film to rewatchability, something you want to go back and revisit. The big comedic set pieces that happen in a film, those are important, but they're not what for me personally draws me back, because once you've seen those, you kind of get everything there. But those smaller, more human moments, they have subtlety in them that you might not pick up on right away. There's things in this film that I could see things that were being laid out in the very beginning of it, breadcrumbs that were being laid out for the characters from the very beginning that you might push back a little bit and say, why would they do that? And then you see in the end, you go, oh, okay, this actually makes sense for the character. And so I think that this is a movie that lends itself to being revisited.
I hope so. I mean, I've watched when you edit a movie, you watch it 148 times or more. So I remember doing in the editing process thinking, there are little things that come back and play. And I do hope people pick up on that. And you're right. That is what draws people back, is that there's just layers to it that you maybe you didn't catch something right away, but it all will make sense, and you can watch it on different levels at different viewings.
And this isn't a film that you need to take notes during and make sure that you have it's not like Game of Thrones where you need maps in the opening of the book, and so all these character names like you're reading Dostoevsky. It's not a complicated story, but it is something that is very rich in its characters, which I appreciate.
Well, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Well, I know we're right at time now, and I could literally talk to you for hours about this film, because you gave me an evening on the couch with my wife, and we got to laugh together, and that means the world to me. So thank you for that, Bobby. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Chris. There's not a lot of these comedies.
No, they're not. High school
age comedies. There's a lot of stories, but they're not comedies anymore. They're always dark and, heavy, and there's a lot of all about anxiety and all that stuff. And we touch on that stuff here, but we do it in a way, hopefully, that there's a lot of laughter involved.
Well, yeah, it's there. It's a part of it. You address it, you talk about it, but it's like that. It's brief and it feels appropriate. So I really did. I adored this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. So I highly recommend anybody that's listening to go check it out, because you got something special here, Bobby.
Thanks, man. Drivers, that was fun. So thank you very much, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. All right. Take care. Bye.
And I don't want to go home, not this time. You think the story gets old, but I don't mind. After miss my friends, I miss my friends so.
Hangovers?